you again for inviting me to your lecture series. This is the fifth and the last class. Usually I have more than 100 classes to study Latin Sutra. But at this time, talking about the entire first volume within five lectures is a kind of challenge for me, and maybe it is a kind of a challenge for you too. Lots of new information. I'm sure you are having indigestion in your brain, but sorry about that. But let me conclude my discussion of the first volume of Larger Sutra in this class. Verses of the three vows, or Juseige. And Higashi traditions, they call these verses Sanseige. And the Nishi Honpa tradition called these verses Juseige. Okay, translation is verses of the three vows. That's Sanseige. Verses of the repeated vows. That's a Juseige. So what these two titles means is that Dharma kara after reciting 48 vows, okay, Dharma kara thought it necessary to repeat three important vows again. See, now, if we read these 48 vows without any explanation, then we don't know which vows are so important. Which vows are so important. So, being a kind person, being a very compassionate person, Dharmakara wants to give us a clue to understanding 48 vows. So, he repeats three vows. Three vows. Three vows. These are Sanseige talks about the sum means three vows, okay? These 12, 13, and 17, okay? So he repeats these three vows, okay? And I explain the importance of these three vows later, but this is a vow about wisdom. This is a vow about compassion. This is about vow about name, Namamida Butsu. Okay? So, as far as Dharmakara is concerned, 17th vow is the most important vow. Okay? 17th vow is most important. Here, you may be a little confused here because I said three vows are important here: 17, 18, 11. Okay? So as far as the totality of human liberation is concerned, 17 medicine, 18 patients taking medicine, and recovery. Okay, so as far as the entire Buddhism is concerned, these three vows are most important. Okay, out of this. But as far as Dharma's side, as far as Dharmakara is concerned, okay, 17 is the most important vow. Okay, so that's why Dharmakara repeats these three vows, because these three vows, okay, this wisdom, compassion is the content of this 17th vow. Okay, this is Namu Amida Butsu. Okay? Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Namu Amida Butsu means this voice challenging. Come to Buddha's wisdom, come to the Dharma's side, come to this side. That's this is Namu Amida Butsu. Okay, Namu is a come imperative sentence. Okay, and Amida Butsu has two meanings: wisdom and compassion. See, so Namu Amida Butsu contains these two. See, Namu is an imperative sentence, so it's challenging. Okay, that's what this is all about. But come to what? Come to what? Amida Buddha. Namu Amida Butsu. Amida Buddha. That's with, see, Amitabha, Amitayus. See, so the most important thing is this one. Okay, but it's like a capsule, okay, capsule of the medicine. But the capsule itself doesn't work, okay, doesn't have any efficacy, okay. Capsule has to contain something effective, okay, ingredients. That's what these are all about, okay. Eventually Buddhism, but this liberates us, wisdom and compassion liberates us. But the words Namo Amida Butsu, see, Amida Buddha means wisdom and compassion. Okay? But when a teacher challenges us, says Nam, do Nam. Okay, so that phrase is so important. So anyway, this is the most important thing as far as Dharmakara is concerned. And 18th vow is the most important vow as far as we are concerned, patients are concerned. Taking medicine is the most important. That's why, okay, as far as this entire liberation is concerned, 17, 18, 11 are important. But as far as Dharma's side is concerned, okay, hospital side, curing party is concerned, medicine is that. And content of medicine is wisdom and compassion. See? So that's what I've spelled out here, okay? Sansege, Dharma again emphasizes the importance of realizing his name. Name is the most important thing as far as Dharma, and it's a calling voice saying, take refuge, come to Buddha's wisdom and compassion. And the three vows that the Dharmakara repeats in the Sansege are the 12th vow in which he desired to realize wisdom, and the 13th vow in which he desired to realize compassion, and 17th vow in which he desired to realize his name. Okay? And Shinran calls these three vows the vow of great compassion. See, that's a tremendous expression. Shinran calls only these three vows the vows of great compassion. Why great compassion? Because Dharmakara is meditating how to liberate people. This is the simplest and the easiest and most powerful means he wants to realize. It took five kalpas to come up with this. Okay? So anyway, 17th vow is the most important vow as far as Dharmakara is concerned. Okay, let me read Sansege verse. Okay, here. I've made vows unrivaled in all the world. I shall certainly reach the unsurpassed way. If I think this should be singular, this vow should not be fulfilled. May I not attain perfect enlightenment. So I believe this verse is talking about limitless light. Okay, enlightenment means gaining wisdom. So, okay. Then second one. Okay, second. If I should not become a great benefactor in lives to come for innumerable kalpas to save the poor and afflicted everywhere, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. So here he's talking about compassion. Okay? First verse talk about this wisdom, and now here this obvious. Okay, in great benefactor, okay? Compassionate person. To save the poor and afflicted everywhere. This is a compassion, okay? Dharmakara is talking about Amitabha, limitless wisdom, limitless Amitayus. These are the name, and this is Namo Amidabutsu. Amidabutsu, these are the content of Amidabha. So these are the ingredients of this capsule, okay? See, so that's why these three are very important. And number three is the most important, okay? This is the vow about the realization of the name, okay? When I attain Buddhahood, my name, Namamidabutsu, will be heard throughout the 10 quarters. Should there be any place where it is not heard, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. See, this is the most important vow, 17th vow. And the name is the most important thing Dharmakara wants to realize here. This is the means by which he wants to liberate whole humanity. One phrase, Everybody can hear it. Easiest and simplest way of liberating people. The easiest and simplest, but powerful. See? It contains a limitless wisdom, limitless compassion. See? So that if people listen to this proper way and understand the meaning means that people understand the deep meaning of the Buddha's wisdom. See? Then they are immediately liberated. Wisdom alone. Name, Sina says, name, Namandavutsu, and wisdom are synonymous. Okay? This is the most important part of Shinran's teaching. Okay, and let us skip some verses and let us look at verse 8. I will open the Dharma store for the multitude and endow them all with treasure of merits. Being always among the multitude, I will proclaim the Dharma with a lion's roar. So this is the meaning of realization of the name. So here, Dharmakara is saying, I will become Shakyamuni Buddha. I will become all Buddhas in 10 directions. See, I will proclaim this Namandavutsu. See, so among the multitude, see, I will proclaim. See, the proclaim the Dharma means I will pronounce this Namandavutsu. See, and challenge people. Okay, see, so that you can see the Jusege. The Jusege has exclusive emphasis on the 17th vow. Okay, so we can understand. Okay, we can understand that here. Let me read this outline. Okay, the number 3. Among the 3 vows, the 17th vow is the most important. 2 other vows, the 12th and 13th vows, talk about wisdom and compassion. Okay, compassion is actually wisdom. We talked about 2 types of wisdom. Okay, wisdom and wisdom compassion. Okay? Compassion, wisdom. Actually, compassion is also wisdom. I talked about it. Do you remember this the Prajna wisdom, this the Jnana wisdom, but going back to the world of the suffering is not only wisdom, but also compassion. And transferring the name to the sentient beings, the historical context is Dharmakara's fifth practice of transferring merits. So that people, we have to talk about this practice, realization of this wisdom and compassion. Okay, that's the realization of Buddhahood, realization of Pure Land. Pure Land consists of this wisdom and compassion. Amida Buddhahood consists of limitless wisdom, limited compassion. Okay, so this is the realization. So we'll talk about this later. But after he realized this, he wants to give this the wisdom and compassion contained in this one phrase, Namamidavutsu. So this is the fifth one. Okay, this transferring virtues. Virtue means this wisdom and compassion. Okay, there are many other virtues, but these 2, wisdom and compassion, represent. So after perfecting this, he will to give this into the historical context. Okay, that's what this story ends. So this is the 5th practice. Okay, so please remember, Amida or Dharmakara is not a historical person. Okay, symbolizing the deepest human aspiration. Okay, human or symbolizing the ultimate truth. The ultimate truth is not a person, but it's a personified. So ultimate truth is, in a sense, saying, see, I will become all these historical Buddhas, and is pronounced this Namami. That's one phrase. And if people hear it and awaken, then they will be liberated. See, that's what this story is telling us. Okay, and so if we read this Sansege, okay, we can know in this context, 17th vow is the most important vow. Okay, see, and as far as Dharmakara is concerned, 17th vow. As far as we sick patients are concerned, 18th vow. See, so Sutra itself is saying, okay, he talked about 48 vows. Then summarizing for 48 vows. He summarizes 48 vows with 3 vows. This and this is a peak of climax of 48 vows. The sutra itself is telling us, but it's very strange. Before Shinran Shonin, very few Pure Land masters paid attention to 17th vow. Okay? Even his teacher, Shinran's teacher, Honen Shonin, did not talk about 17th vow. So scholars say, oh, Shinran Shonin discovered 17th vow. Very few people discovered the importance of 17th. But if we read this sutra carefully, sutra itself is saying 17th vow is the most important thing. Okay. Now let me read this my explanation of this fourth practice. Okay. Fourth practice. Having proclaimed his 48 vows and summarizing them with the 3 vows, 12, 13, and 17, in his Sansege, Dharmakara performs various practices to fulfill those vows. His practices are designed to fulfill the 48 vows. Okay? He wants to fulfill all 48 vows. This process is they are like construction of a building on the basis of a drawing or blueprints. And specifically, his practices are designed to fulfill the 12th and the 13th. See, so that he wants to perfect his wisdom and compassion. He wants to realize limitless wisdom and limitless compassion. Okay, so that's because they are the contents of the name, see, that he desired to transfer to the sentient beings in the historical context. Okay, okay. So now we talk about the specific practice Dharmakara took up. Okay, Dharmakara visits innumerable Buddhas in 10 quarters. This practice is called kuyo, Japanese word kuyo practice. Translated, it's a visitation practice. This is one of the Samantabhadra practices in which he visits innumerable Buddhas in 10 quarters and learns wisdom from them. It is the most important practice by which he fulfills the 12th vow, limitless wisdom, and realize wisdom. Okay, limitless wisdom, Amitabha, becomes his name. Then Ananda, after proclaiming and establishing those universal vows in the presence of the Buddha Lokeshvara Raja before the multitude of beings, during inconceivable and immeasurable kalpas, he cultivated the immeasurable meritorious practices of the Bodhisattva path. Okay, he referring to Dharmakara. So since we have expression here, during inconceivable and innumerable kalpas, this practice is called endless, limitless practice. His name is called limitless wisdom. See? No end. See? Do you remember the 2 types of aspiration I explained a couple of weeks ago? Dharmakara's aspiration has no end. This keep on going. Small river started low and get middle, small river and middle-sized river and become a river like Mississippi, but still keep on going forever, never ending. Okay? Our aspiration, desire is nothing like that. Okay? When we get to the goal, okay? And we get into the university, my aspiration is fulfilled. Okay? I got a good job, then my prayer or aspiration is fulfilled. End. See? But Dharmakara's aspiration has no end, limitless. See? He realized that the limitless process of learning. Okay? He becomes a perfect student. So, he becomes a student here, beginning student, but this is the perfect student. Okay? he perfects, this is the process in which his studentship is perfected. Okay. He never become a pro, or he never become a professor or a teacher. His studentship gets richer and richer, deeper and deeper. Okay. Amida Buddha means a person who is a perfect student. Okay. We have to revise our view of Buddha. We think Buddha is a preacher, teacher. Buddha here is a teacher, preacher, but this is a Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha Shakyamuni is manifesting is a perfect student. He's doing Nembutsu. He's doing Nembutsu. He's thinking of worshiping and other people. He's learning from other people. Okay, that's Mahayana Buddha, or the Buddha, Amida Buddha could symbolize it. Okay, this is very important. Okay, it's called eternal practice. And two practices here. I've been discussing the two practices since I started to discuss this Tambutsuge. The teacher was Bodhisattva, perfect Bodhisattva. He's a Bodhisattva. Okay? Buddha here is a perfect Bodhisattva. And he performs Bodhisattva practices, two types of Bodhisattva practice. This from samsara to nirvana. 6 parameter practices, starting from dana and discipline and patience, and 6 is prajna, wisdom. But this is one type of wisdom from samsara. Then Shakyamuni comes back here. This is the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. 10th is another wisdom. This is jnana wisdom. This compassion wisdom. Okay, so this is a 6 parameter practice. This is Samantabhadra practice. This is the practice in which he perfects this limitless wisdom. Okay, that's what I spelled out these 2 types of practices here. Okay, these are the practice. 2 types of practices. The practices Dharmakara, the teachers, are performing, and when Dharmakara witnessed those 2 practices in teacher, Dharmakara says, I want to become a Buddha exactly like you, and I will perform the exactly same practices you are performing. Say, these are the 2 practices. And particularly Samantabhadra practices are so important. If we read the first introduction, general introduction, entire second half of the general introduction is an explanation of this Samantabhadra practices. Okay, so throughout the larger sutra, the sutra tells us Dharmakara's main practice is this Samantabhadra practice. This is a visitation practice. This is a practice in which Dharmakara visits all kinds of Buddhas, and he is discovering more Buddhas. It's called the spiritual traveling, the visitation practice, Kuyo practice. Okay. This is the most important practice. Okay, I'll explain that a little later. But here, okay, so in the Sambutsuge, Tambutsuge, okay, we read these 2 verses. Okay, 6th verse of the Tambutsuge. We read this verse. Okay, it's Tambutsuge. Even though there are zillions of Buddhas and great sages, as many as sand grains of the river, Ganges rivers, I will visit all of them and study under them. Nothing is greater than seeking the way, continuously advancing and never retreating. Another important practice of Dharmakara, another practice in the Samantabhadra practice is enlightening all sentient beings in 10 directions. That's 7th verse here, okay, in Tambutsuge. Even though the Buddha countries are as innumerable as the sand grains of the river Ganges, and other lands are also without number, my light will illuminate all those countries and lands. So illuminate, they enlighten all beloved people. See? Get rid of darkness, ignorance. This is enlightening people. See? This is compassion. See? this visitation practice is a practice in which Dharmakara is perfecting limitless wisdom. He's receiving wisdom from the teachers, okay, in visitation. That's perfection of limitless. Now, this is enlightening people. That is a practice in which he is perfecting compassion, okay? So even though the Buddha country is as innumerable as the sand of the river Ganges, and other lands are also without number, my light will illuminate all those countries and lands, spreading all over them. Such will be the way I will make continuous efforts, and my power will be limitless. Shinran Shonin, again, his writing talk about the nature of the limitless light. Amida Buddha, Amitabha symbolizes it. Amida Buddha means a limitless light. Okay, so the Shinran Shonin Dharmakara collected the light or wisdom from all Buddhas. So Shinran Shonin explained, Dharmakara did not create any of his own light or wisdom. All the light Dharmakara possesses, all the wisdom he possesses is given by all Buddhas in 10 directions. He just went out to collect those the particles of light. Okay. In Japan, we have a song, at the graduation ceremony, we sing this song, and all Japanese know this song. And this song talks about the very poor student in ancient time. A very poor student in ancient time. They didn't have money to buy lamps. Without lamps, you cannot study at night, okay, in ancient time, no electricity in those days. So these very poor students, what they did was, in the summertime, they went out and collected fireflies, okay, and he put into this cage, okay. And I don't know if it actually happened, but it makes some sense, okay? No lights. He collected 10, 20 fireflies, no good, okay? So probably he collected a couple of hundred or 300-400 fireflies. Then you can make a small lamp and you can study under this small lamp. Okay? But anyway, that's what the song we sing at the graduation ceremony says. Okay? Ancient time for students collect the live fireflies to make this lamp. This is the same idea. See? Dharmakara goes out to the people, and he collects. See? This is number of Buddhas as many as sand grains of Ganges River. So he visits each one of them and they do Kuyo practice. They receive wisdom and visit another one. They collecting light. So he visits the limitless number of Buddhas and the limitless number of wisdom, light is gathered. So his name becomes limitless light. Never ending. Ever expanding light. That's his name. Okay? So he perfected his studentship. The more studying or seeking he does, the more studentship he realizes. Okay, so yeah. Now this is the beginning. Okay, beginning of the process. Okay, he goes down this way. Okay, initially he has only few people. He was a king. You remember, he was an arrogant king before. So when he started this process, he had very few Buddhas he could really respect. Of course, Lokeshvara Raja is the one before whom he could really bow down his head, okay? So initially he had 1 or 2 Buddhas. So he has this much of light wisdom, okay? But he goes down and see, then teacher will challenge him, Dharmakara, your head is so high. Okay? You must know the ignorance of yourself. Okay? Other people could be your teachers. Okay, visit them and learn from them. So being challenged by the teacher, this head goes down like this. Okay, the lower the head goes down, the more Buddhas he discovers, okay? See, like this. These are all sentient beings, okay? As many as times with the Ganges River. See, these are all humanity, okay? Also, but he initially had only few to respect. But now, see, as he deepened his practice of this spiritual traveling, seeking teachers and learning from them, see, like this, the more wisdom he receives, the humbler he becomes. Humbler he becomes, more Buddhas he discovers. The more wisdom he receives, humbler he becomes. Humbler he becomes, the more Buddhas he discovers. Okay, so here, like number of Buddhas, number of Buddhas as he goes this way. Okay, number of light. This is a wisdom of light. See, this. See? So in the sense, these all sentient beings turning into Buddhas. This, see, these are all. See, this is light. See, this light, wisdom. See, this gets bigger, bigger and bigger. So this is what I'm talking about. Okay, this gets limitless number of Buddhas he discovered, receive limitless number of wisdom. Like here, that's how he fulfills his Buddha 12th vow and 13th vow. Okay? Wisdom, compassion. This is the wisdom, compassion, wisdom. Okay? This both has two aspects. This wisdom. Okay? This two aspects. Okay? This is realized. This is the content of this fourth progress. Okay, I can give you another simple example. Okay. Suppose all of you, I don't know how many people there are, maybe 20 people or so, you listeners. Suppose, you are here in this classroom, Maida Center classroom, okay? Maybe there are 20 chairs, so you could fit it. So all of you, suppose you are sitting here in this class, okay? I'm the one standing up, okay? So when I compare myself with you, see, my head, see, my position is higher than you. So, I could say, oh, I'm the higher than you. You are lower than you. See, my head is so I'm greater than you. See, I'm greater than you. So see, this is the way. This head. Okay. Then, if I treat people like that, see, it's a very arrogant way. Okay. Then my teacher will say, Haneda, you are so arrogant. You are not so great as you think you are. See, look into yourself. There are a lot of deluded elements. Maybe those people you're seeing in front of you, they may be your teachers. See? And see, try to learn from them. See? And maybe your teachers, discover them as your teachers. Your head is too high. So my teacher hit my head. See, you are so arrogant. See, lower your head. Then lower my head goes down like this. Okay. Eventually, my head hits this floor. Okay. This is the body, and see, this is the head. This is the head is arrogantly standing up. Okay. This start to go down like this. Okay. Eventually hit this floor. See, this head hit the floor. What happens? Initially, see, I was kind of slighting you. See, I think I'm higher, greater than you. See, I'm looking down on you initially, but see, my teacher hit my head. Then I examine myself and I see lots of deluded elements. See, I'm not so great as I thought. I'm not so smart as I thought. See, then my head goes down like this. See, lower my head goes down. More Buddhas I discover. See, you are not moving there. You are just sitting there. See, same level. But if my head goes down and hit the floor, then all of you turn into somebody I have to look up to. See? Initially, I look down on you. Now I look up to you, respect you. See? So the regular, ordinary people, sentient beings, turning into Buddhas. See? when I totally humbled, okay? All these sentient beings that I initially despised or slighted become my teachers. Okay? This is the content of this practice, pure practice. Okay? In visiting teachers, the more Buddhas you discover, humbler you become, more wisdom you receive, the more wisdom you receive, okay? The more Buddhas you discover. See, humbler you become, the more Buddhas you become, more Buddhas you discover, humbler you become. See, this is a practice of Kuyo practice. This is a way, this limitless light, okay? Limitless name of this Buddha, limitless light is so important, okay? We say, oh, Amitabha, oh, the Buddha's name is limitless light. If you understand this one concept, limitless light, clearly, deeply, you understand so much of the Buddhism. See? Amida Buddha is a perfect student, humblest and most dynamic student. See? Humbler you become, more desire to seek wisdom. The more wisdom you seek, humbler you become. See? Dynamism, humility and dynamism also deepened here. That's what Dharmakara becomes, okay, limitless. He visits a limitless number of Buddhas, receiving a limitless number of wisdom from them. That's why his name becomes limitless. Amitabha, limitless light. And this is what this is what this wisdom is what Dharmakara wants to put in this Namo Amidabutsu. Amidabutsu means limitless light. Okay? And come to Amidabutsu. If you don't have to know anything else in Buddhism, if you just understand this one concept, one phrase saying, okay, come to limitless light. Okay? This is a perfect student, perfect, humblest and dynamic spirit of a student, the eternal student. If you really understand this and identify yourself with it, your liberation is there. Okay? Of course, you have to meet somebody. Okay? It's not a mere concept, not a mere idea we're talking about. Okay? Shinra met Honen. Shinra met Namamidabutsu in Honen. Ananda is seeing Namamidabutsu in Shakyamuni. That's why, okay, meeting with a person who embodies this limitless life. Okay? That's what the core of Buddhism. See? That's why Shinran said, you don't have to know so many things. Just if you really understand Namo Amidabutsu, if you can hear one phrase, Namo Amidabutsu, and if you receive this Namo Amidabutsu spirit, if it awakens, this awakens in it, this Namo Amidabutsu, this Dharmakara is born. Dharmakara symbolizes this aspiration. Namu means aspiration. Shinjin means aspiration. Aspiration to learn, to listen. Then this awakens and this automatically, necessarily become Amida Buddha in us. See, Dharmakara born in us, aspiration born in us, Shinjin is born in us. And this becomes, so when we die, we become Amida Buddhas, Shinra would say. Okay? Dharmakara through beginning, through ending. See? That Shinra talks about our becoming a Buddha. That's we become Amida Buddha. We attain Amida Buddhahood. See? This has such in necessary power. See? Unsuppressible power. This cannot help but becoming Amida Buddha. Dharmakara cannot help but Amida. Same way, if this is awakened, this is not our mind, Shinran says. This is the Buddha's aspiration, Buddha's mind arising from within unexpectedly, thanks to the power of our teachers, thanks to the teachings that we receive. This is awake. Then this automatically, this person's life is so full and rich. Okay? Student, life of the humble and dynamic student. See, this is what Shinra is talking about, and Anyway, this is a very important part of this practice. Okay, Kuyo practice. Kuyo practice. Actually, that's what you are doing. Okay, you're curious about Dharma. You are seeking Dharma. All of your students. See, important thing is deepening it. All of us have this student spirit, but we are yet to perfect it. See? Like a few percentage of my time or of my being is studentship. But see, the more you hear, the more desire you have for hearing. See, 10%, 5%. See, we become more and more of a student. See, eventually you become half of our being becomes a student. And when our entire being becomes a seeker and a learner, that's called the fulfillment of the Buddhahood. Okay? We never become a teacher. We never become pro. Okay? Buddhahood taught in this sutra is a perfect student, perfect bodhisattva, perfect seeker, never ending. Buddha is more student than we are. Perfection of studentship is called realization of Buddhahood. If you think Buddhahood is becoming a teacher or superior being and look down on other people, on the contrary, Buddha is a person who is respecting all humanity, worshiping them, doing nembutsu to all humanity. That's what Ananda is seeing in Shakyamuni. Dharma kara become a person of nembutsu. Buddha, all Buddhas, 10 directions. He is doing nembutsu. When he perfected this active nembutsu, then all these Buddhas who are respected and worshipped by Dharmakara in turn start to worship Dharmakara. So this is a realization of Buddhas mutually think. Can you expect people to worship you? Can you expect people to respect you? You cannot ask them, you should worship me. I'm great, you should respect me. Nobody worships you or respects you if you just arrogantly ask them to do it. If you become a humble person, humblest student, and you keep on bowing people, isn't the fact that people start to bow towards you? Do you bow to the people who demand us to bow to them? Oh, no, we never do that. When humble person, nembutsu person comes to me and he really humbly bows down to me, I cannot help bowing to him. He's not a teacher. He's a very quiet person. He's a listener. And he's just worshiping and respecting me, bowing to me. Then I cannot help bowing. That's called the Buddha's mutually thing. So simply because Dharmakara became a person who can do nembutsu, who can respect and worship other people, people in turn start to see. That's the realization of the Buddha's mutually thing. That's the content of nembutsu. That's the content of this Amida Buddhahood. So his realization of this active nembutsu is a realization of 12. He is worshiping Buddhas and bowing his head before. He's doing nembutsu toward millions of Buddhas. That's the realization of 12. Wow, limited worshiping of Buddhas and receiving wisdom. Then this 17th vow. All Buddhas in 10 directions, all Buddhas in 10 directions, start to worship and respect. These Buddhas do nembutsu toward him. These Buddhas, all Buddhas, that's the 17th vow. 17th vow. All Buddhas in 10 directions are praising. Shakyamuni says, I'm the one of the many Buddhas who are worshiping and praising the Buddha. Because he is doing nembutsu. because he's doing Nembutsu to me. I cannot have doing Nembutsu to him. Okay, so that's why Shakyamuni has this Amida Buddha spirit. That's why Shakyamuni is worshipping all Buddhas in direction, and he feels he is worshipped by all Buddhas in direction. Okay, so this what is this the Nembutsu? Is this Nembutsu the basis of a being? So with this story, Shakyamuni is saying, yes, Nanda Amida Buddha. The Dharmakara is worshipping you. Amida Buddha is worshipping you. That's why we cannot help but worship him. See? So this way, this story explains the theme of this sutra. See? What worshipping people are worshipped. The person who is Nembutsu, doing Nembutsu is receiving Nembutsu from other people. See? Anyway, so that way, see, this is Pure Land. See, Pure Land disappeared. It doesn't look like Pure Land, looks like impure land. But see, this is the two Pure Land and Buddha. Shinran says Pure Land, Buddha has 12 powerful, limitless wisdom, limitless compassion. And Pure Land is also 12 and 13. See, so these are fulfilled. Okay, so now he has become Buddha. So Sutra says all these 48 vows are fulfilled here. He became Buddha. First vow is fulfilled. 13th vow fulfilled. Other vows fulfilled. Okay, so the larger sutra talks about all kinds of adornments in Dharmakara's Buddhahood and his Buddha land. Okay, the word adornment, this word is you often use in the larger sutra. Okay, adornment. The word adornment means symbolization or verbalization in concrete forms of Dharmakara's wonderful virtues. Okay, spiritual qualities are invisible. Okay, wisdom, compassion. You may have wisdom, compassion, but we cannot see it. Okay. So in literature, they have all kinds of symbolic way of talking about this brilliance or wonderfulness of the spiritual qualities. So larger sutra uses all kinds of symbolism like jewels, 7 types of jewels, silver and gold. Okay, these are material things. But see, so this Pure Land is so brilliant. The ground is made of the 7 jewels, and the trees are shining with these silver and gold colors. Okay, but these are not the literal meaning of it. These are literary devices, symbolization. So many Pure Land devotees make a mistake, and they believe these are real things. And they believe if I die and go to Pure Land after I die, I will have all kinds of gorgeous material things. That's not the meaning of these things. Okay, we have to be very clear. These are all symbolism, okay? Literary devices to talk about the wonderfulness of the spiritual qualities. Okay, so that's adornment. This is the most important. Okay? This is the reason why he took up all these practices, perfected wisdom. Okay? So he didn't create these, Pure Land or Buddhahood simply to enjoy his personal happiness. Okay, the only reason he wanted to become Buddha or create Pure Land is that he wanted to give these virtues. Okay, wisdom, compassion. Okay, that's the most important virtues. Okay, and Vasubandhu talks about 29 virtues. Okay? 17 virtues of the land, 8 virtues of the Buddhahood, 4 virtues of the Bodhisattva, altogether 17, 8, 4, 20. So the Vasubandhu, second patriarch, talks about 29 virtues, okay? And wisdom and compassion are the most important one. So, but particularly, Shinran considers 12 wisdom and compassion, okay? These are the So these virtues mean 12, and all of them are contained, but these represent. So the only reason he made these vows and had practice is he wanted to realize this name. They put this into this name expression. Nam Ami Dabutsu. So come to Buddha's wisdom, or come to this humble and dynamic spirit of seeking wisdom. Come to this dynamic and creative spirit, that Dharmagara spirit that keeps on seeking wisdom, compassion. That's what the meaning of it. Okay, so this is the most important. This is the purpose of Dharmagara in performing these other practices. Okay, so now Sutra talks about this. Okay, then now this is the end of the first volume. Okay, this is the end of the first volume. So just let me read this. Okay, when Dharmagara fulfills his vows and become Amida Buddha, he perfected his virtues, such as wisdom, compassion, which various adornments symbolize. And Vasubandhu talks about 29 kinds of adornment. Okay, he's right. Dharmagara desires to transfer all his virtues, such as wisdom and compassion, to the sentient being, the historical context. The 17th vow, in which he desired his name called or praised by historical Buddhas or historical teachers, is a specific way he wants to transfer his virtues to the sentient being in the historical context. The name, calling what say, take refuge in limitless wisdom, represents all his virtues. Okay? Shinran believes that the wisdom alone is good enough, okay? Or the spirit of seeking wisdom alone is good enough. Okay? According to Shinran, the most important virtue contained the name of the Buddha's wisdom. By giving the Buddha's wisdom to the sentient being, the historical context, Dharmagara wanted to liberate them. That's why Shinran often teaches us that the name is an expression of the Buddha's wisdom. By giving the wisdom alone to sentient beings, Dharmagara desires to fulfill 3 vows. Okay, so that's the kind of last part of the first volume. First volume talk about this transferring of the merits. Okay, then the first volume ends here. Okay, so in the first class I told you the larger sutra consists of 2 volumes. So the first volume talks about this the Dharma side. What is Buddhahood? What is the Dharma? What is a hospital? What is a doctor? What are the nurses? What is the medicine that cures us serious sickness? Okay, so all these things, matters belonging to the curing party are explained. Okay, now I think I hope you understand. Okay, throughout 5 classes I've been giving you. Okay, the main thing Dharmagara wanted to realize this name. Okay, how can I come up with this name? Okay, that's 17th vow. And if medicine is invented and given to people, then 18th vow can be fulfilled. People can take medicine and they have sign of recovery. See? So, and you eventually they become totally cured. See? So now, okay, now originally I intended to talk about just first volume, but without talking about the first section of the second volume. Okay, my discussion on these 3 vows, 17, 18, 11. My discussion on 3 vows is not complete. So let me discuss the very first section, first passage that appears in the second volume. Second volume of the larger sutra, the teaching concerning the side of the patient, the side of the patient. Okay. Now let me read. Okay, at the outset of the second volume of the larger sutra, Shakyamuni says the three vows, 17, 18, and 11 vows that Shinran calls the three selected primal vows are already fulfilled. Shakyamuni says, Ananda, now these three vows Dharmakara wanted to have them fulfilled. And now, actually, in this historical context, these three vows are fulfilled. Look at me, Shakyamuni is in a sense saying, look at me, Ananda, I'm saved because of this fulfillment of three vows. Ananda, you are going to be liberated because these three vows are already fulfilled. And Shinran thought, Honen is the fulfillment of the 17th vow. And Shinran thought his liberation is the fulfillment of the 18th vow. It's 7 pages. All of them are liberated because three vows are fulfilled in their respective lives. See? That's how Shinran said. Even Shakyamuni was liberated because three vows are fulfilled in his life. See? All Shinran believed. All human beings are going to be liberated because these three vows are fulfilled. Shakyamuni says that all historical Buddhas are now calling the name or praising the virtue of Amida Buddha. They are all saying, take refuge in the Amida Buddha, or come to Buddha, Amida Buddha, come to the Buddha's wisdom. Take refuge in the Dharmakara's humble and dynamic student that keeps on seeking the wisdom. Having heard the name being praised by the Buddha, sentient beings experience Shinjin, deep spiritual awakening and joy. All of this takes place because Dharmakara has transferred his virtues, wisdom, compassion to all sentient beings in the historical context. When those sentient beings aspire to be born in the Pure Land, they are immediately born there and attain the stage called non-retrogression. That's what this first section, first passage that appears in the second volume of Larger Sutra. So now we have this passage here. Okay, this is just about 10 lines. 10 lines. This 10-line passage. This is the most important part of Shinran's teaching. It's called fulfillment of three vows. I translate this three-vow fulfillment statement. The most important textual basis of Shinran's teaching. Shinran considered this like a 10-line passage, the most important Buddhist literature among all Buddhist canon. And he considered this 10-line passage the basis of his teaching. Jodo Shinshu teaching is Jodo Shinshu teaching because of this passage. To that extent, this is the important passage. This is the passage in which Shakyamuni says, three vows, 17, 18, 11. 3, 17, 18, 11 are fulfilled. Shakyamuni says, because these three vows are fulfilled, I am saved. Because of the fulfillment of this Ananda, you are going to be fulfilled. Shinran thought, in my life, three vows are fulfilled. In the lives of 7 patriarchs, these three vows are fulfilled. The fulfillment of the 17th and 18th and 11th vows. Okay. First 17th vow. Okay. First 17th vow is fulfilled. All Buddhas, historical Buddhas, are saying Namandabutsu. The Buddha Tathagatas throughout the 10 quarters, countless as sands of the Ganges, are one in praising praising the majestic power and the virtues inconceivably profound of the Buddha of immeasurable life. This is the fulfillment of 17th vow. All Buddhas in 10 direction, 10 quarters are together praising the virtues of the Amida Buddha, praising the virtue of the Amida Buddha and saying the name synonymous. So all historical teachers, okay, all these teachers are originally coming from this Amida Buddha's spirit. I talk about this is like a college. They are all graduate from this Pure Land College. So they are all praising this humble and dynamic spirit of Dharmaka, and they embody that spirit, okay? So encountering these teachers so important. You have to see it to believe it. Now, having fulfilled the 17th vow, having been fulfilled, now 18th vow is going to be fulfilled, okay? All sentient beings, as they hear the name, hearing it alone is important. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to perform all kinds of good actions. You don't have to meditate or make efforts to do all kinds of things. Just one thing, hearing alone. This is the textual basis, okay? Just hear one phrase, that's good enough. So all sentient beings, as they hear the name that is being said by all Buddhas in 10 quarters, realize even one moment of shinjin and joy. You keep hearing it. It's not easy to hear because we like to think. We like to use our discretion or the dualistic thinking. Okay? But Shinda says, forget about your wise mind. You forget your wise thinking mind. Just keep listening. Listen first. Listen first. What the Buddha is telling you. One phrase. Understand the Dharmaka spirit of seeking wisdom. Wisdom liberates us. Understand the nature of the hear and understand. One phrase. Directed to us, to humans from Amida's sincere mind, being commanded. See, we cannot just aspire. See, this is we take initiative. Shinra said, unless made to aspire, unless we have this aspiring mind, awakened by our teachers, their words, this mind cannot come out. So he says, commanded to aspire to be born in that land. Then immediately, here now, attain birth. Once Shinjin is awakening, the true self is awakening, you never lose it. This Shinjin self that is awakening in you leads your life. And this Shinjin self, Dharmakara self in you, will complete your life. When you end your life, see, you become Buddha. Becoming a Buddha means fulfilling human life. No need of another life. No need to seek anything else beyond the death. Beyond the death. Okay, this is what Shinda is talking. That's why he used the word parinirvana, complete extinction, complete combustion. At the moment we die, full stop. See, nothing more to be sought, nothing more to be needed. Full stop. That's the way life we have to live. See, we have to meet something we have to meet in life. We must hear what we have to hear in this life. See. We must have a completion point when we die. Many people grudgingly die. They die without being able to complete their lives. See? That Buddhism is there to give us this fulfillment of human life. Okay? Here, Shinran eliminated this chanting practice as a necessary condition of eliminated. And idea of using our resources and directing of virtues. See, it's called self-power echo. He totally replaced it. Buddha's echo. And finally, see, birth in Pure Land can now immediately. See? But traditional says, see, oh, if you chant Namman Daotsu, then you will be born in Pure Land after you die. See, that's why this Shinran's rereading or rephrasing this three vow fulfillment statement is tremendous. Because of his rereading or rephrasing of this text, we have Jodo Shinshu. With the story of Dharmakara's becoming Amida Buddha, Shakyamuni has answered Ananda's question about who Shakyamuni was and what his radiance or light was. Okay? Shakyamuni is saying, Shakyamuni told Ananda that the universal basis of human liberation was the three vows, 17, 18, 11. Shakyamuni told Ananda that Shakyamuni was one of the Buddhas who are mentioned in the 17th vow. He also told Ananda was one of the sentient beings that were mentioned in the 18th vow, and Ananda, one of the people who are going to be liberated by hearing the name. Shinran identified himself with Ananda and Honen with Shakyamuni. Shinran identified himself with Ananda and Honen with Shakyamuni. And Shinran believed that the three vow fulfillment statement described the universal way all human beings are liberated, explained how human spiritual liberation is realized between a student and a teacher. Thus, Shinran thought the three vow fulfillment statement was the most important text in entire Buddhist literature. He constructed his Shinshu doctrine on the basis of it. Thus, we can see that the first volume of the larger sutra, with the story of Dharmakara's becoming a Buddha, explained the dharmas, the liberators or curing parties side. The second volume talks about sentient beings, liberated side or patient side. Seems like endless or limitless depth in this text. Okay, so no wonder Shinran consider this text the most important text, and he devoted his entire life to learning from this text. Anyway, thank you again for inviting me to speak at your lecture series. Okay, and Kawata Sensei told me that we'll have another series of lectures on the second half of the larger sutra next year. So I'm looking forward to it. So for the time being, take good care of yourself. Okay, thank you. Namman Daotsu. Namman Daotsu. This is so crucial. This is the most important part of the text he considered. So this has to interpretation of this text has to agree with what the entire first volume said. So he is reading the text in accordance with what he read in the part one. So that's what I explained. Okay. So Shinran's reading makes more sense than the traditional way. And particularly important thing is that Shinran is reading his kind of personal experience. So he has some confidence because he met the teacher Honen Shonin, okay? And like a whole story of Dharmakara, the explanation of the meaning of this meeting. So he he sees the universal implication in the way he read the text. Okay, so I think it's very important. Okay, scholars will criticize you, but you have to prove the authenticity of the text through your personal experiences. Of course, sometimes we read our selfish, too subjective interpretation, but Shinran's way of reading this fulfillment statement is very universal. That's, I think, very important. It's a very personal way of interpreting it, but at the same time, as universal elements. We can study Buddhism in two different ways, academically and experientially. This kind of text, okay, we've been studying this largest. This kind of text we have to study experientially. Okay? We must have a teacher. We must have been moved by teacher's words. Okay, we must have a new self, true self, being awakened in us. Okay, if that doesn't happen, what's the use of studying Buddhism?